and welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, June 14th, 2019. I am Yvette Boynes with the details. The second phase of the 35th annual Tradewinds exercise officially got started here today with an official ceremony at the decommissioned E.T. Joshua Airport tarmac. Representatives from the United States and 21 partner nations are participating in the exercise. SVG-TV's Barvin Oliver attended the opening ceremony and files this report.
The colorful flags of the various countries and the uniformed military personnel participating in this year's Tradewinds exercises were on full display today at the decommissioned E.T. Joshua tarmac for the official start of the second phase of the exercise here in SVG, which will culminate next Friday, June 21st. Over the next 8 days, participants from 22 partner nations will be involved in vigorous, calculated, and results-oriented training with the aim of enhancing their capabilities to combat transnational organized crime and conduct humanitarian assistance and disaster relief effectively. Deputy Chief of Training and Exercise at U.S. Southern Command, the sponsor of the exercise, Commandant Edward Rogers, said the annual Tradewinds exercise has evolved over the years from a small tactical exercise to one which allows partner nations to work together efficiently.
In addition to that, we've added a Caribbean Task Force headquarters that command and controls these units. So you have a land component, a maritime component, and then sometimes we have an air component also that works with the headquarters. So component, a maritime component, and then sometimes we have an air component also that works with the headquarters. So what they get out of this training is working across all those domains as a team. So you're not just working as a police security force or a military force, you're working with a maritime force, and you have a higher headquarters giving you orders. And the good thing is, when you bring all these nations together, they kind of learn to work together in a peacetime environment. So if you have a natural disaster or some type of security situation, you've already worked together and you're able to respond to a lot more efficiently and effectively.
SVG's Commissioner of Police Colin John and the Canadian Armed Forces Contingent Commander Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Hale both agreed that preparation is of critical importance if the military and law enforcement agencies are to be effective in handling various threats.
You know, we cannot wait until the actual event to practice. We would hope that we do not have to utilize the training that we are receiving during this exercise, but we do not have control over nature, we do not have control over human behaviors. So we have to, what we can control, we are controlling, and that we can train and we can prepare ourselves in the event that these things are brought upon us.
If we don't have training opportunities like this, we will not succeed in real operations. This gives us a chance to practice and perfect our techniques ahead of time before the emergencies actually arise around the world. Everyone needs to take away the valuable lessons learned here from each activity that they get involved in to make sure that they learn the skills that are being practiced and they take those back to their nations to spread on to the rest of the people in their militaries, coast guards, or police forces in their parent nations they come from.
Each participating country has its own unique geographical landscape, which could pose problems during rescue operations. And Deputy Executive Director of the Regional Security System, Graham Archer, said St. Vincent, with its geographical features, is the perfect location to carry out such an exercise.
Troops, personnel who are not accustomed to this type of terrain have an excellent opportunity to give themselves practice in this kind of environment. So that if they have to deploy to one of our countries, which it's likely to have this type of terrain, that they are well equipped to respond and to work well in that environment.
It has been over 15 years since the Tradewinds exercise was last conducted here in SVG, and it is hoped that the relationship forged during the Tradewinds 2019 through the exchange of knowledge and expertise will help to maintain regional security and prosperity throughout the Caribbean. For SVG-TV Evening News, I am Barvin Oliver.
Meanwhile, Superintendent Camicia Blake Byam is appealing to the public throughout the exercise. She said there will be some movement of personnel from one location to the other as they test the country's national emergency plan, which will be of benefit to all Vincentians.
There will be a lot of movements, there will be a lot of sirens. We ask the person to respect these sirens and so forth, and just to cooperate with the whole exercise, participate where necessary, and it's just to test our national plans, see our response mechanism, and quite naturally the public is a significant part of that. So we don't expect to meet much resistance, but to have a more collaborative effort as we test St. Vincent national plan. So it's an exercise that's going to benefit us holistically in the event that something of any nature, natural or otherwise, that affect our country, and we are able to respond effectively based on our experience here from the exercise.
Minister of Tourism, Sports and Culture Cecile Sesmaki said the Tradewinds exercise also presents some exciting tourism potential for SVG.
That they will have to stay at accommodation sites throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines when they travel from area to area to participate in activities. They will do some spending, they will buy items, craft items, they will enjoy the services that we have to offer. They will go to events. Right now we're into the Carnival season. I'm sure that they will attend Carnival related events. We are hosting the OECS netball competition. I'm sure that they will be part of that. I saw a few of them in one of the Calypso tents last night and night before. So they will be filtering into different aspects of life in the communities. They will be spending money, and as I indicated, the accommodation aspect will benefit from them being here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we cannot overlook the tourism impact for such an event over a 1+ week time here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we stand to benefit both in terms of the training and also the tourism aspect of things.
The National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, is also participating in the second phase of the Tradewinds exercise, which commenced today. As part of the exercise, NEMO in a news release said it will be conducting a simulation which involves scenarios related to an eruption of the La Sofia volcano. As such, the National Volcano Emergency Plan has been activated, which involves issuing information and news releases to the public via its Facebook page, website, emails, radio stations, the mobile application CAP, and other communication modes. NEMO said all messages, notifications, and related information will begin and end with the words exercise, exercise, exercise. This, it said, is the international standard for disseminating information as it relates to drills and simulation exercises. In addition, NEMO personnel will be visiting communities in close proximity to the volcano to disseminate alerts. NEMO says the mock drill will last several days and is intended to test the preparation and response of all agencies and communities located near the La Sofia volcano. The public is asked to note that the mock scenarios are not real and there is no need for alarm or panic, as there is currently no unusual activity at the La Sofia volcano. There has been a reported increase in the quantity of fish landed in SVG for the first quarter of this year. This was revealed by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves at a ceremony held in Kingston on Monday to mark the conclusion of Fisherman's Month 2019 and the prize-giving ceremony for the Fisherman's Day competition held on Monday, June 10th. Comparing fish landings for the past 2 years, PM Gonsalves noted that for 2018, some 2.5 million pounds of fish landed here valued at $18.7 million. This figure represents more than 0.5% when compared to the previous year, and according to PM Gonsalves, already for 2019, the Fisheries Division has recorded a further increase.
So even though the fish landings increased by 40% in 2018 over 2017, and the value by almost 57%, for the first 3 months of this year, the weight increased by a further 23%, nearly by a quarter, and the value by nearly 12%. If this trend continues, we are going to pass the $20 million mark.
The increase in fish landing is being attributed to the improved fishing facilities now available across SVG. Meanwhile, PM Gonzalez challenged youngsters to see fishing as a viable employment opportunity.
The fishing industry is a good place to make a good and decent living. And the idea, the old-fashioned idea, that the fishermen them drop out of primary school and all they want to do is to go and fish and drink rum. That's an old-fashioned idea. The boat them now, if you want to go out far and stay out there, the boat them are more sophisticated and you have to know maths and you got to know your physics to be able to pilot those boats. And therefore I want to say to the young people, there are opportunities. Don't believe that the fishing industry is an industry for dropouts or people who love Sunset Strong.
Some of the fisher folk who took part in this year's fishermen's competition told SVG-TV News that fishing has become more challenging as they now have to go further out at sea and stay longer on the waters in order to have a good catch. The police here are investigating reports of attempted murder on a 52-year-old retired pointer and a 58-year-old manager, both of Brighton. According to reports, two unknown masked men allegedly shot both persons about their bodies with a gun. Both victims are currently nursing injuries at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. The incident occurred at Brighton yesterday. The police are soliciting the assistance of the public in divulging any information that can lead to the swift investigation and prosecution of the offenders in this case. Persons with information are asked to contact the officer in charge of the South Central Division at 458-4200, that's 458-4200, or the ACP in charge of crimes at 456-1339, 456-1339. Meanwhile, the police have arrested and charged Kenroy Edwards, a 31-year-old chauffeur of Rosebank, Javid Chetram, a 26-year-old sailor of Grenada, and Kevin Slaughter, a 57-year-old boat captain of England, with possession of controlled drugs. The accused men were allegedly met in possession of 183,416 grams of cannabis and were subsequently charged with intent to supply to another. The men were also charged with having the quantity of cannabis in their possession for the purpose of drug trafficking and for agreeing with each other that the offense of drug trafficking shall be pursued. The incident occurred at Richmond on Wednesday. The men are expected to appear before the Serious Offences Court to answer the charges. The most child-friendly school in SVG is the Stubbs Preschool. This was announced at the Early Childhood Annual Award ceremony held today at French's House. This award means that the school adhered to the early childhood standards. The Best Practices Award went to the South Rivers Methodist Early Childhood Center. Practitioner of the Year was awarded to Karen Westfield of the Tromaka Government Early Childhood Center. The Practitioner Award is usually given to preschool teachers who are dependable, responsible, and are able to manage the early childhood centers in the absence of supervisors. The Parent of the Year Award went to Kendra Samuel of Sunny Hill Preschool. According to the Early Childhood Division, Samuel not only cared for her child, but also other children and is always supportive of the Early Childhood Center that her child attends. The book parade was won by District 8. This is the fourth year that the Early Childhood Department in the Ministry of Education is hosting a prize-giving ceremony to recognize the work of stakeholders in early childhood education. Meanwhile, speaking at the awards ceremony, Chief Education Officer Elizabeth Walker said the Ministry of Education continues to look at ways of improving the early childhood curriculum.
In the Ministry of Education, we continue to work with this sector in a number of areas, and I noted the ongoing restructuring of the curriculum, the early childhood education curriculum, the early identification tool that is currently being developed so that we can have benchmarks whereby our children can be assessed and that there will be standards across the sector to ensure that what happens there meet the basic requirement, not only in St. Vincent, but across the OECS.
Walker said early childhood education sets the foundation for an individual's success and it should not be taken for granted.
The early childhood sector I consider to be the most important sector in education because it's the commencement of all that happens in education and the development of young people. And once we get it right at the early childhood level, then half of our problems are ended. So I would encourage the practitioners, the teachers, the parents to continue to work with the organizations who play an important role in the development of that sector. In the Ministry of Education, we continue to work with this sector in a number of areas.
President of the National Association of Early Childhood Educators, Esther Pompey, called for a collective approach to lift the standard of early childhood education.
I say to parents, practitioners, supervisors, we have a foundation to build, and I ask, if we don't do it, who will? You must answer, we will. It means all hands must be on deck, and if our parents is to provide materials, do it with a heart full of love. And our practitioners must utilize the building blocks gracefully, build on them. In so doing, you will not only be awarded, but one day you will be rewarded once you recognize that your labor is not in vain in the Lord.
Carnival Beat is coming right up.
All right.
Nelson Block Cultural Organization 10-time Band of the Year champs will be presenting Fet for Sud this year with 9 sections. This year's production includes 2 children and 7 adult sections. However, one of the adult section, Army Fet, is yet to be put on display as the band seeks permission from the authorities. The mass band will also be partnering this year with the School for Children with Special Needs and to give the students the opportunity to jump in their own costume but will not be judged. Band leader Alvon Ali Cadogan told SVG-TV News that this year's production team Fet for So was conceptualized around the different fets for Vincimas. She said they are very confident about winning this year's Band of the Year after placing 5th last year.
Section before you, the 2 children section, which is the 5 to 9 fun fair, the 10 to 15 fiesta, sexy soca, we call Mardi Gras, is the pink, dusk to dawn, water fete, you have steel and glitter, glow, gala fete, and army fete. Those are the 9 sections we are bringing this year, and the 9th section was not out on the board because we had to seek police permission for what we are bringing. It's not, we have to say it's like a surprise section, but it's not really a surprise section, but it's Army Fit.
Cadogan said that she is grateful for the space provided to them at the Bishop's College, Kingston, to store their costumes. However, their biggest challenge to date is to find a big enough space to set up the King and Queen costumes.
Nelson Block faces lots of challenges. We have before you a space that has been allocated to us, and we say thanks to the people who gave us this space. But our problem is we have 4 big costumes to come, which is the Junior King, the Junior Queen, Senior King, and Senior Queen. And they are actually actually finish welding and in the yard, but space, we don't have the space to decorate. So we normally say thanks to Bishop College. We'd always say thanks to Bishop College. Bishop College has given us a classroom. So what you see is that we finish what we are doing here. Once they're finished, we box them, take them up to Bishop College and store them in a classroom for Kiddies Carnival at the end of this month and then for Mardi Gras. We have to do that, otherwise in that we have no room in here. Once we start to decorate the big costume, we're in serious trouble. And not just us, all the bands face this kind of problem in terms of the big costume, in terms of space. And right now we have to say thanks to the little space we have here and try to make it do as much as possible.
Kodagan is inviting masqueraders to be part of the Nelson Block experience this year.
Nelson Block is located on the waterfront at the Leeward bus terminal below Quality Paints behind Agriculture Input Warehouse. Nelson Block is actually on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Can be reached by telephone numbers. We are just about to re-establish our cell number, but can be reached by myself, 454-5516, or WhatsApp or telephone 432-5008. Our cost is reasonable and you can afford it. You can afford it and still have money to buy books in August for school in September. It is such way that the children are range from $175 and our highest costume is $450. So it's $350 all the way down. And it's an experience. People say, oh, you know, every band in this country is an experience. Any band you play with have something unique and have something different. This year, we are hoping to capture 350 masqueraders, and it will be an all-inclusive straight to the band. You get food and drinks. Good time on the road, move on time, party on the road non-stop.
All right.